Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about how I got my nearly 2-year-old to start talking. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background. So my toddler, who's going to be 2 next month, wasn't really talking much. He was quiet, but he knew how to take instruction. So when I tell him something, he knows exactly what he needs to do, but he was not bringing out the words, or he was not very good at articulating exactly what he wanted. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background in terms of how I found out that he may have delayed speech. So I started to notice that when he was talking, his tongue seemed very displaced, like it was just moving about and swirling about. So he did not have as much control of his tongue as he should, and that also is due to the fact that he sucks his tongue as a way to soothe himself. So he does that so often, and the tongue is out, so which meant that the tongue was hardly in the mouth, and when it was time for him to speak, it was very difficult for him to articulate and for the words to come out. So I could literally see that his tongue was just kind of bouncing around in his mouth, and he wants to speak, but he just couldn't get the words formed right. He was only saying just a few words. Literally, he was saying daddy, he said shoe, car, tree, and that was kind of where we stopped at. There was nothing, like when we were singing, there was nothing that he could really pick up. Again, because of he was using his tongue to soothe himself a lot, he would just kind of retract back to, I don't want to really sing, or I don't really want to talk, and he would just get into his comfort zone, and he would just kind of cuddle up with me. So as a stay-at-home mom, I felt like, you know what, I'm at home, I should be able to help my son so that he can better communicate with us as a family, because I could see that he wanted to talk. He wanted to be able to say things. He wanted to be able to tell me what he wanted. So he was starting to struggle, and he was starting to get frustrated in terms of the fact that he could not communicate. So I just felt like it was important for me as his mother to help him. So the first thing I did when I realized that he was having difficulties in terms of his speech is I started to observe him. I observed him for a good couple of weeks. I observed him whilst he was playing. I observed him whilst I was speaking to him, or his brother or his dad was speaking to him. I observed him when he was watching TV. I observed him in his daily life, because I wanted to understand what he was really interested in. I wanted to see his way of communication. I wanted to understand my son better. So I took my time to observe him. And one thing that I really noticed is that when I was talking, he would look at the way that my mouth was moving. He would literally, his eyes would literally be glued to my mouth to see how I am talking, to see my mouth movement, to see my tongue movement. So I knew that he was so ready, because I could see that he was taking in all that information, and I just knew that if I gave him just a little bit of a help and a little bit of a push, he would be able to speak and communicate with us the way that he wants to. With the observation, that's also when I realized his tongue, just when he was speaking or when he tried to speak, his tongue was just moving about, swirling about. He just could not get it to be in a rhythmic way or in a more controlled way. So his oral motor skills were really troubling him in terms of getting his words out. So the next step for us was to strengthen his oral motor skills. And the first thing, and this is going to sound so silly, but it's so easy. The first thing I started to do is introduce him to ice lollies. And as we're in the summer and the weather is absolutely beautiful, I was introducing ice lollies to him. And you're thinking, Dave, why ice lollies? Ice lollies will get you to lick, and that licking motion is strengthening his tongue every single time. So he is using that, he is doing that lick up and down, that lick up and down, and it's getting all his muscles, all his tongue muscles getting used to doing that L shape or that up and down shape. So you can see that, or that swirling around shape. So I used that method because, like I read in my research, it just said that it will strengthen its tongue muscle and he will have better control. And when you're licking ice lolly, it seems like a very easy thing, but you need to have control. and you need to do it for a while. He's doing it very often, maybe twice in the week, where he will get to have an ice lolly, and I will just let him enjoy it. It's enjoyable, but it's also strengthening his tongue muscles. Another one in terms of how I strengthen his tongue muscles and with his oral motor skills is by getting him to stick his tongue out and be silly. So I would just randomly just be like, when we're playing during playtime, I will stick my tongue and I'll go, ooh, and you will see that he was trying to do it. In the beginning, it seemed like, you know, he kind of didn't understand that he could do that. He would kind of just stick his tongue out, like just like the whole of it, without it being like in a shape. He would just kind of go. So I just had to get him practicing. So even when he was sticking his tongue out, there was not a lot of control, and that's what I was trying to get him to do, to have that control. So as I was doing this when we were playing, it wasn't on a daily that I would get him to stick his tongue out, but maybe like 3 times in a week we will have a sort of mini session of us playing around and saying, you know, sticking our tongue out. So as this progressed, I could see that he was able to take the tongue out, wiggle it about, which was giving me all the great signs that he was now starting to have control of his tongue. So with the ice lolly licking, with us being silly and having fun and sticking our tongue out, it actually started to strengthen his oral motor skills, and you could just see that he was just feeling a lot more confident. Another thing that I had to do was stop myself from asking too many questions. And because he wasn't talking, I was just like, well, I need to talk to him a lot. I need to talk to him a lot so that he can speak to me, so that he can gather the information. But from my research, I knew that I was speaking to him a lot more. So what I did was I kind of retracted from speaking to him a lot. And what I would do instead is I will say something to him, and I would kind of just leave it for him to process and come back to me with. It's his turn to respond. It's not for me to fill in the words for him. Would you like to go to the park? Would you like to go outside? Would you like to read a book? Would you like an apple? It's just so many questions being fired at this child, and you know, they're just going to be feeling like, oh my God, like how am I going to answer all of this? I can barely communicate with you as much, so you're asking me all these questions. Are you expecting me to answer it? So I literally had to process it that way and think, okay, as someone who does not know something, do you want to be asked a million times how to do it when you completely do not know how to do it, or you're just starting? Another thing that I did was I took it back to basic. I literally took it back to basic. Instead of me looking at him as in, oh, he's a 20-month-old child, or he should be talking, or he should be doing this, and treating him like someone who already can speak, I took it back to basic. So I wasn't using full sentences. So instead of me saying, this is a cup, or this is a dog, or this is a bag, or this is a shoe, I would just say cup. And I would just make sure I'm not saying it in a sluggish way. I'm saying it in a way that when I speak, you can see my mouth move. So when I'm saying something, for example, like cup, I would literally take my time and say cup, cup. So I would do that. It may sound silly, it may look silly, but trust me, it really works. Taking your time to say these words to them, because they are watching you and how you say it. Like I said, my toddler, he would literally look at my mouth and see how I am pronouncing these words. So I had to make sure that when I was saying it, I was articulating it correctly. I wouldn't say, you're eating an apple, or this is an apple, or look, yummy apple. I would just say apple, and I would hold the apple, or if he's eating it, I would point at apple and say apple, apple. If it's banana, same thing, banana, banana, milk, because he drinks milk. So these are all of the things that he's actually having on a daily basis. So it's nothing that I am randomly saying to him. It's the things that he uses so often, he sees so often, and he's doing so often. So that's what I would say to him. Just simple, short words, things that are around the house that you know that are very short and easy to say. Another way that I encourage my son to start talking is through reading. We have been reading to Jibble since he was literally a baby, but he loves books. That is one of his biggest interests. He tends to gravitate to his books a lot, which was absolutely already amazing for him. So we were doing a lot of story time, we were doing a lot of reading, and with reading you're expanding their vocabulary, you're expanding their knowledge, and they're just really soaking in all that information. Reading to your child is one of the best things you could possibly do for them. And lots of singing and nursery rhymes. Singing to nursery rhymes, I mean, I can't lie, I really enjoy singing away to nursery rhymes, but they get to pick up so much. Yes, I know they say, oh, screen time, screen time. Yes, screen time can be bad. Too much of anything is bad for you. But if you're enjoying screen time, especially listen to nursery rhymes, put that nursery rhyme on. Do it together. Be excited when you're singing it. And because of its rhythmic, it's enjoyable, and the words are pretty easy and flowy, you will see that they will start to maybe hum to it, and as time goes on they will start to say the words. The words might not even be clear, even if it's incorrect, just to mimic it, that sound that it makes, the pattern of the song, those things, although it may seem very small and minute, there's such a big deal. So sing as much as you can. It don't matter, no one's watching, and if someone's watching, they've got a free show. If you know that they enjoy a certain nursery rhyme, sing that often to them. And then when you sing it to them, what I do is, for example, I would say, "Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had a," and I will just leave that gap blank and see what he comes up with. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had a sheep, E-I-E-I-O, with a, the sheep goes. Obviously at the beginning they might not come up with anything, but eventually they will start to insert their own animal. Another thing that I did so often is taking him out on a day-to-day basis. As obviously we've been in a pandemic, we have been indoors for so long, and unfortunately these four walls are not as entertaining as we would like it to be for toddlers. My oldest son goes to school, so we go for a school run every single day when we're going to drop him off and when we're picking him back up, and he gets to see so many different things going on outside. He gets to explore, he gets to see people, he gets to see dogs, he gets to see flowers, he gets to see trees. So there's so much going on around here. 5 days in the week we will see the bus. So the bus started to become something so significant during our trip, that when we saw the bus, we sat in the buggy, we will watch the bus go past, and I'm like, wow, bus. So we would see the bus so often. This is probably like over a week or nearly 2 weeks after we've been bus watching, he finally said bus, because he's been seeing it so often, and because of it's an enjoyable moment for him, he just grasped that word so easily. You know, kids need to be out there and they need to explore, so they just come alive when they're outside, let's be honest. Also, I got this tip from a video that I watched here on YouTube. When we're out in the park and he's about to go on the slide, I would count to 3 and then say the action word. For example, I would say 1, 2, 3, go. So because if I said 1, 2, 3, and I'm doing it so often, 1, 2, 3, go, 1, 2, 3, go, he started to correlate this and put it together. He knows that when mama says a 1, 2, 3, we know that the word go is about to come. So when I put him on the slide and say, you know, 1, 2, 3, he would say go, because he knows that obviously that's the time where all the excitement is, and he loves that part. 1, 2, 3. That's what I would do. So it's all about just getting them engaged. Also, your body language and tone of voice is always going to be very important when it comes to anything to do with children, whether you're teaching them, whether you're speaking to them, you know, or you're playing with them. Tone of voice and body language is so important. If I'm sat now just saying, yeah, tone of voice is very important, tone of voice is very important. Yes, tone of voice is very important. So you can see that I've got a different range of voice. And even if you watch like kids shows, or if you listen to nursery rhymes, and they've got the different tone of voice and they are so enthusiastic and it's so energetic. You need to make sure that your body language reads inviting. I want to play with you. It's a very sensitive time of a toddler's life, and it's also can be very sensitive time for you as well as a parent. So I will say be very, very patient. Just take things as slow as you can. Take it day by day. Do not force anything. Do not get frustrated at any point. You just have to let them grow into it, because your job is to aid them, to guide them, to help them, to boost their confidence. It's not to push them and say you have to do this, or you have to do that, or he has to be able to do this, or he has to be able to do that. Do not compare to anyone else's child, because right now your main focus is to try and get your child to better communicate with you and the family members that are at home. Trust the process. Also trust that your child will speak when they are ready. But also, if you feel like your child is needing extra help with certain developmental stages in their lives, then you as a parent have to take that initiative. And honestly, as parents, you have that gut feeling when you know that your child is struggling with certain areas of his development or her development. You as a parent, you as a mother will feel it. There's so many help out there for you to be able to get the information that you need to be able to help your child. The things that I've mentioned as well, you can start using it at home and see how you get on with it. You feel like you're starting to have concerns, the best thing I would say is speak to your GP or speak to your health nurse and let them know what's going on. And what they will do is that they will give you the information that you need so that you can better help your child. With all of the steps that I have taken to now, Jibble is saying mama, which he never said. He's saying book, dog, wow. He's saying water. He is now adding 2 words together. So he's saying thank you, or he's saying mama park. He's saying all these 1 words that we've been saying over the past 4 weeks. Even my neighbor noticed that he's so much more confident, and that's because he's found his voice. He's able to articulate himself. He's able to communicate in the way that he wants to, even sometimes if it's not that clear. But just the fact that they are trying, and just the fact that they are saying something to you, is such a beautiful thing. With everything that I've spoken to you today about, I will have links down in the description box of the videos that I've watched on YouTube here, the blogs that I've read, and the informational websites that I've been through to read these things, because this is what I've done with my research. This is all self-research, and I would say do your own research as well. You've listened to what I've had to say today and my story and how we've got to this stage, but you also do your research, because each child is different and you need to do your own research. Look through it, go through it, write your notes, and try these things out. See what works for your child. If that doesn't work for your child, remove it and find something that does. So you stick to things that you know is going to work for your child. You do things that you know will get your child engaged. From the observation, you're able to engage your child more in things that you know that they enjoy. If you know that, for example, they enjoy listening to Old MacDonald Had a Farm, get books that's got farm, get farm animals and name these farm animals, because that is what they're interested in, which means that if you're trying to get them to speak, it's more likely they will choose these words that they love, or start to sing the nursery rhymes that they enjoy. It's been a 4-week process now, and I know that we're about to see even more improvements. Just one advice to a mother who has been in my position of feeling like, oh my goodness, what is going on with my son, or what is going on with my child? What can I do? Will he speak? Will he not speak? Just feeling like you are not doing your best. I just want you to just know that you are doing your best, and all we're trying to do is to further do our best and to further be able to help our children. So at no point do not feel disappointed. Do not let that mom guilt overshadow the great job that you've been doing. You know your child better than anyone. And mothers, there's something in us that when we feel it, we need to go with our gut instincts. So do your research. take time to, understand what you've researched, take time to understand your child, and then start to process this and then start to implement everything that you have learned. But I do not want you to give up. I do not want you to doubt yourself. All you need to do is find the tools, find the information to be able to help your child. Whether or not they're going to speech therapy, these are the things that you could still use for them, and these are the things that you could still do at home on a day-to-day basis to improve. But I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope that you found encouragement, motivation, and self-belief. I hope that this video is informational to you. Thank you for watching this video, and if this video has been helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos from me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But thanks for watching, and I'll definitely see you in my next video.